into skeptical activism, one of the biggest revelations to me wasn't the fact that ESP is baloney or that the evidence for UFOs were total crap. It was the fact that human perception of the world can often suck. I got this from Perry. I talked with Perry years ago, and I was talking to him about how could people believe that they had these paranormal experiences when clearly they did not, and even when confronted with the evidence, they still firmly believe this experience that they have. And he said, Bob, didn't you know that people's memories suck? So that kind of got me really thinking about it. This is back in the 90s, this is quite a while ago. So I started investigating where skepticism and perception and memory where they kind of collide. So I looked at perception, and human perception obviously is unbelievable. We can see a million different colors. We can detect a sound that's a billionth of one atmosphere. We can even touch the nanoscale in certain patterns. And it's amazing, but just because it might be a high resolution sense, this does not mean that it is accurate. And it is not, it can be very, very inaccurate. Your senses often make assumptions. They're surprisingly biased, and your senses weave together a story that it then deposits into memory that seem incredibly real. These memories are real and are indistinguishable from real memories, but your brain often makes many critical errors. And even if you were to have a memory that was very, very accurate over time, just recalling those memories, you distort them and they morph into something that your mind wants to support this narrative, and that does not mean that it's accurate. So this whole idea is codified into a concept that Steve came up with called neuropsychological humility. Basically, it says that your experiences are unreliable. You have to be humble regarding your senses and your experiences, because we are not passive recorders of reality. We are active creators of reality in our mind. So one of the things that Ben Perry helped me realize, and got me on the journey, was to be a good skeptic, you can't focus outwards and combating pseudoscientists or pointing out logical fallacies. You've got to focus inwards a good amount of that time and to identify our own sacred cows. We all have sacred cows. Even skeptics have some sacred cows. Steve's got some good ones. Or at the very least, realize how fallible people can be. So I think what I'm trying to say is that science, we need to be humble like science is humble. Science will never take one person's word for it, will never take one experiment's word for it. Science knows that that there's so many ways for errors to creep in that you can't just rely on one experience or experiment or a person. So you've got to be humble like science. So if there's one thing I want you to take away is I try to be